As a full-time wedding photographer and a recent bride, I'm going to be sharing with you today 5 things that are commonly forgotten on wedding timelines. I want to make sure that you don't forget about these things so that your wedding day can run really smoothly. So the first thing that I see people forget a lot of times on their timeline is the signing of the marriage license. That one part of the day that makes you actually officially married. But a lot of times it gets overlooked in the thoughts about the ceremony and the family formals and getting to cocktail hour. You want to make sure that your officiant, your photographer, and your witnesses that will be signing it are all informed about when and where are we signing this. If you don't set this up ahead of time, you might be struggling to track down your officiant or your witnesses or make sure your photographer can be there to capture that moment of signing the marriage license. By putting it on your timeline and having a designated location, you're gonna make the signing of your marriage license an exciting and a memorable part of the day instead of this stressful and chaotic experience. The second thing that I wanna make sure you don't forget to add to your timeline is during the getting ready portion of the day. So a few things that can get overlooked during the getting ready portion is what time do the parents of the bride or groom need to be ready? A lot of times we're focused on when the bridal party has to be ready or when the bride or groom might need to be ready. And the parents can often be the ones holding up the timeline of the day the most, especially if you're waiting to do a first look with dad or mom or a grandparent. It's super important that they know what time they need to be ready. Another part of the getting ready time that often gets overlooked in the timeline is if you want to do some robe shots with your bridesmaids or you want to have a toast with your bridal party. You need to make sure that this is on your timeline and communicated to your bridal party, your photographer, your makeup and hair person, and anyone else that needs to be involved in this portion of the day. I've seen timelines get held up many times because one of the bridesmaids forgot her robe in another part of the hotel, or mom wasn't ready because she didn't know what time she needed to have her dress on to take pictures in your first look. So really make sure that in that getting ready portion, you don't overlook each individual thing that needs to happen. The more time you spend tracking down robes or relatives, the less time you'll be able to spend enjoying the moment. So please make sure to have these things on your timeline and make sure they're communicated to the people that need to know them. The third thing that I see frequently forgotten on timelines is time to chat with your guests. It may seem like a given that you're going to be able to chat with your guests and have time to greet the people that are here to celebrate with you. But often if you're not planning to do maybe a receiving line, or you're not going to make it to cocktail hour because you'll be doing portraits at that time, you might miss out on getting to talk to some of the people that you really wanted to see on your wedding day. So make sure that you have a time planned out for you to go around and talk to guests. If you don't, that time is probably going to be your dinner time. And you don't want to go the whole wedding day finally trying to eat something and now you're trying to talk to guests. Now you have people coming up to your sweetheart table, or your food is getting cold on your table because you're trying to make the rounds to different tables and greet people. So make sure you have a planned out time that you're going to either table hop to different tables and talk to guests, or you have a time where they can come up and greet you. I really want you to make sure that you can enjoy not only the people that you want at your wedding, but also the food that you have planned and that you are looking forward to having. The fourth thing that I've seen forgotten on a lot of wedding days is the details that you want to enjoy after the wedding. Whether it be that tradition of saving a slice of cake to freeze for your first anniversary, or some kind of bouquet preservation, or even setting aside some of your dessert or meal to enjoy the next day with your new spouse. All of these things need to be planned out ahead of time so that they're gonna be saved for you or even given to you before you leave your wedding. Make sure that it's on your timeline and that you have somebody that's going to set aside those details for you. Even managing what's going to happen with the cards and gifts that you receive on the wedding day, you don't want to have to try to run around tracking those down later on. Make sure there's a plan, and it's going to make things so much more convenient for you afterward. The fifth thing that I've seen forgotten on wedding days, and this is one that has happened to me many times, is having a backup plan for the family formals that you miss. Obviously, especially if you're doing your family formals before the ceremony, maybe you're having a first look and then you're planning to get those family portraits out of the way afterward, inevitably you might have a relative or two that doesn't make it in time for those portraits. Even if you're doing the family formals after the ceremony, you may have a relative wander off, and it does happen. As much as we try to prepare in advance and we try to wrangle them, we sometimes have someone going to the next location if your ceremony and reception are at different spots, or we just have a relative that isn't there at the time you're supposed to be taking those portraits. So what do? Plan ahead of time with your photographer and your DJ that there would be a time during the reception where you can briefly take the portraits with family members or the groupings that you wanted to do that were missed during the family formals time. It can literally take just a few minutes, but if you don't plan it ahead of time, this may be forgotten after the family portraits take place, and you may look back on your wedding photos and realize, oh, this was a family portrait that I really wanted to take, but such and such wasn't there. Or my aunt was supposed to be in this shot and I didn't have her in it, and now I don't have a photo with her for the wedding day. So please make sure you plan a backup time. It's not a long portion of your reception, but if it's not planned, it probably won't happen. So don't miss any portraits with relatives that you want to have memories of for your wedding day. You want to make sure that everything is on your timeline that you want to happen on your wedding day, and that you communicate these things with the people who need to be involved. This is two of the most important things in making sure that your timeline goes smoothly and that you can have a stress-free wedding day. If you think I missed anything in this list, feel free to comment down below so that we can help other brides make sure that no one misses an important piece to their wedding day. If this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe so we can help lots more brides and so that you can receive more planning tips and advice in the future. Want to watch another video now? Here's another one I think you'll like.